And at this time, we're going to be introducing a person who's very, very familiar to our congregation. And I'm going to do this for a second here. There you go. Now everybody could see you. Um, Before, I'm going to, let's see, where are you? You got to open your mic again. So let me do that for you. Before you do that, though, I want to also open up your, no, that's not the right one. Hold on. There he is. I want to open up your grandfather's. Whoop. You know he's sitting there. You're both in the same place. All right. All right. I'm going to open your grandfather's now. Whoop, they closed it again. Yours is closed, Melanie. Melanie, you can keep yours closed. Oh, got him open twice. I want to open up. Oh, you're on the same one. Okay. No wonder I got you open twice. All right, let me close this. I can unpin it. There we go. All right. All righty, so we got you there twice. It's okay. Just want you to know that a week ago yesterday, that young gentleman sitting there with the beautiful yarmulke on his head was 103 years of age. Yay! Let me see if we can open up that mic again. This is only one thing open. Good.
Yep.
There. All right, so let me do an unpin on this one, so we don't need you there twice. There we go. All right, so let's all sing a happy birthday to Mr. William Bill Lidman for
You
his.
don't have to.
Oh, we want to. It's just, how often do we get to sing happy birthday to somebody who's still a teenager? All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bill. Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have to tell you, you haven't aged since the day I met you. You look exactly the same. When I first met you, you looked this old. How does that make it sound? It sounds really bad. Now, he's a real gentleman. And it's a pleasure it's really an honor to have known you all these years. And you're a true gentleman. You know, you look in the dictionary, if you look up the word mensch, his picture is there, just in case you never knew that. He's a good man. Okay, would you like to introduce your granddaughter like you do every year?
Of course. This is my granddaughter, Melany Lidman. She lives in Israel, in Tel Aviv, and she's a reporter for the Associated Press, and she's going to give us some words of wisdom this morning. So we'll turn it over to Melany.
Very good. Melanie, it's all yours.
Okay. So I want to say hello to everyone. I have spoken to this congregation on Thanksgiving for many years now. So it's an honor to be back here and do another Thanksgiving with my grandpa. He's the patriarch of our family, and he keeps us all together for the holiday. And we're very grateful to him and my Aunt Bonnie and Uncle Bill, who are also on the call, who hosted us again this year as they have in many years past. So it's great to be with family during this time. So this week we read the portion. Can everyone hear me? Am I okay, loud enough? Yep, okay. This week we read the portion of Toldot, or generations. We read in this parsha the story of Isaac and his sons Esau and Jacob. It is an especially interesting time to be discussing this ancient conflict between Esau and Jacob, one that echoes throughout the generations and into our lives today. It is so easy to paint this story as good versus evil or Jewish versus Muslim. But we know through Judaism, there are so many thousands of commentaries over the centuries that have delved into the intricacies and layers and challenges of this story. The complicated feelings of Rivka, who encourages her younger favored son to dress as Esau in order to trick her blind, dying husband. Esau's strange willingness to trade his birthright for a bowl of red lentil soup, although if it was like my mom's red lentil soup, I understand. Esau's loyalty to his dying father, going off to hunt for his favorite meal in his last hours. Over the centuries, we have told this story again and again, examining it from so many different angles, looking at the story from each person's perspective. So it seems strange to me that so many people seem unable to apply this lesson of accepting and understanding that there are many perspectives to the conflict today in Israel and Gaza. It is thrilling for the first time in a few months to say that the war currently is only in Israel and Gaza and not also in Lebanon. I work for the Associated Press in Israel, a position I have held for just over a year. My newsroom has bureaus across the world, and specifically, we have bureaus in Gaza, Jerusalem, Ramallah, and Beirut. We have people who live in all of those places, and we work together as best as we can under exceptionally challenging circumstances to bring you the most comprehensive information that we can about what is going on each day in our region. Note that I am not saying that we bring you the truth, because as we learn from the story of Jacob and Esau, each person's truth is different based on their history and their perspectives. But I can only hope that we bring you the most accurate and concise information from every possible side of the conflict to the best of our abilities. I know we are not perfect, and I certainly disagree with many policies at the AP and many aspects of our coverage. But I also know that this conflict is complicated and impossible to convey, and we are just one outlet of many. I do a variety of duties at the Associated Press, but over the last 6 months, one of my main duties has been writing our main bar story of the day, which means collecting, organizing, and writing the main news story of the day, the one that usually shows up in thousands of newspapers each morning. It is an awesome and overwhelming responsibility to try to condense dozens of snippets of information into a comprehensive piece that provides background without getting lost in the details, that offers perspective without generalizing, and that gets the information out fast and accurately. But I want to stress the story that takes shape during my 8-hour shift, which constantly morphs and changes based on airstrikes and terror attacks and drones and Iran and Hezbollah and Hamas and the US and Bibi. That is one single story, even if we are trying to combine so many perspectives. And it seems in this day, so many of our readers don't have room for even a single story encompassing multiple perspectives. Instead, they want it in black and white. They want simplicity. They want to distill the conflict into snappy chants. I get it. Things are scary. And when things are scary, it's hard to stay open to uncertainty and complexity. It's much easier to boil a conflict down to two sides, decide that one is right, and never challenge yourself by listening to the perspectives of the other side. But that is not what the rabbis and the sages did with the story of Jacob and Esau. And that is not what we should do today. This conflict is messy. As Rabbi Perlman said, this conflict is ancient. This conflict is complex, and there is no right answer, even though I do my best to cram all of the information into a 1,000-word story on a daily basis. There is no single story. Just like the story of Jacob and Esau, This story requires you to see the conflict from multiple perspectives. So if you remember one thing from my talk today, it's that I asked you, in the midst of this fear and uncertainty, to open your heart to hold multiple stories at the same time. Read the news from outlets that challenge your ideology. Try to understand the conflict from a perspective that is different from yours. Ask questions and be open to hearing answers that make you uncomfortable. I work on a daily basis with journalists in Beirut and Gaza and Cairo, all of us cooperating to try to report the news. Our bureau chief in Gaza, Wafa Sharafa, is an incredible woman who has single-handedly managed the entire operation, including overseeing a network of freelancers across a war zone with barely any electricity from a tent outside a hospital in Deir al-Balah. She tells stories that will break your heart every day anew. So do my colleagues in Beirut. And so do I when I meet with families of the hostages or the tens of thousands of victims of October 7th and 14 months of war. Yes, there are many issues in the media coverage of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I'm sure we're all familiar with those, and there's no reason for me to rehash those here. Just like there is no single rabbi that makes decrees on the meaning of a parsha, no single outlet or reporter can ever capture the complexity of this war. So I encourage you to open your heart to the other. Find space in your heart to hold multiple stories of heartbreak at the same time. It is not a competition of pain or numbers, but when we open our hearts with empathy to people on all sides of the conflict, it helps us come closer to understanding. I want to say one last thing about the Parsha of Toldot. There are many aspects of the story of Isaac that echoes the things that happened in Abraham's life. A famine forcing them to venture into a strange land, concern that his life could be in danger because he is married to a beautiful woman, arguments over wells, one of the most important resources in the Middle East. In many ways, it feels like the stories of Abraham are getting repeated through the generations. On August 1st, 2006, I lost one of my closest friends in Israel who was killed during the Second Lebanon War in Lebanon in the village of Aita al-Shahab. Losing that friend changed my life, not to mention the lives of his entire family and wide network of friends in both Israel and America. His absence is still felt every day in the holidays he has missed, in the birthdays he never celebrated, in the family he never had. In October of this year, Israeli soldiers again went into Aita al-Shahab. More than a dozen were killed in that same village. The stories of our heartbreak are getting repeated throughout the generations. AP focuses on breaking news, and we take great care each day to track the death tolls in Gaza, in Israel, in Lebanon. Each time the number goes higher and higher. We are now in the tens of thousands. It's been 14 months of this, and we're starting to get numb. Wafa will report on an airstrike in Gaza, and it's almost automatic the way we collect and verify data in order to add it to the article. But behind each number is an unimaginable loss. It's a loss that will ripple outwards for generations and generations to come. These losses are radicalizing those in grief and causing more conflict. And that, perhaps, is the biggest heartbreak of all. Shabbat shalom.
Thank you. I take note, or I'd like to refute something you said. When I give an opinion, it's the right one, and everybody else is wrong. So I'm just kidding.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
I stand corrected.
You know, it's my father, Oliver Shalom, used to say that every time we would have a fight, Israel would fight with the Arabs in anywhere. He would always say, he almost brought him to tears because he said, you know, we're cousins. Why do we have to fight with our cousins? You both come from the same person, Abraham. It used to make him sick. And he never really took sides. He thought nobody's right in a situation like that. Nobody's right. Some people may appear to be more right, but There's no right. When you're killing people, it's wrong. Whoever kills people, it's wrong. Uh, and how many, Bill, you went to war, right? You were in World War II? Bill,
What?
Two.
were you in World War II?
I was in the reserves,
Reserves, okay.
working in Cleveland, Ohio for the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, dealing with the problems with airplanes.
So you didn't go to the war, actually. You didn't go to where the fighting was.
No, I didn't see any
You were
active
lucky.
duty.
You were lucky. Yeah, it's nobody leaves a war where they see people being killed and say, "Boy, that was great." Nobody, nobody. So you're very right about what you said. You know, we always believe we're right and the other's wrong, but we have to think that way. But nobody's right. Okay, well, thank you so much. You know, I'm going to open up all the mics anyway at this point, but if somebody has a question for you, maybe they can ask and you'll answer. Is that okay? Is that fair? Okay. The mics are open. If you're on YouTube, you can't ask questions, but what, did I close them or open them? Let me see what I did.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer questions. Can I just ask that we make them questions and not opinions?
Right. Is that fair, everybody? Open up your mics and you could ask a question if you have one. If you're on YouTube, you can talk to your heart's content because we can't hear you. But if you're on, whoops, if you're on this particular Zoom channel, you can talk. Anybody? Man, boy, did you answer everybody's questions. Nobody has a question. I can't believe it. Okay. I'll give you another couple of seconds in case you're having trouble opening your mics. Yep.
I don't have a question because questions are so hard, even in this terrible conflict. So I'm not quite sure what question to ask. Heartbreak is everywhere on all sides.
That's right.
But I thank you for all your reporting.
You know, when you see an AP report from the Middle East or from Israel, you'll often see her name on it as the byline. It's nice. I always feel good when I see her name there.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, I guess we can go on with this. Yes, you want to talk? Go ahead.
Yeah, how many AP reporters are in Gaza proper? You are in Tel Aviv, I believe, right?
Yeah, I'm in Tel Aviv. Currently, we only have 2 staffers. In Gaza, we were able to evacuate all of our staffers and their family about in December of last year. So AP evacuated about 120 people from Gaza. So like Wafa's family is no longer in Gaza, they're in Cairo or Doha or other places. And some of our AP staffers are still reporting on Gaza remotely from Cairo or from where they live. So we have 2 full-time staffers. Wafa chose to stay there. It was her decision. And she basically recruits people as she can in different areas of Gaza. So she's also training people to be journalists in the midst of all this, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Thank you.
And in the rest of the bureau, we have text reporters, we have video reporters, we have stills photographers. We're about 100 people in Lebanon, Jerusalem, Ramallah, and Gaza altogether.
Wow. That's quite a staff.
But it's much smaller than it used to be. It is one of the most outlets have their largest bureau is in Jerusalem or in the Middle East somewhere, and Like, for example, we have maybe 80, maybe 100 people. There's also people that come in and out all the time to help us out. But like in all of Africa, there's maybe 12 people, which is, also problematic. But there's a lot of stories that aren't getting told because so much airwaves are being taken up by this single conflict.
Anybody else have a question? Okay. Well, thank you for the questions. We
Thank you,
really,
Rabbi.
we always appreciate when you come. It's always interesting. I think was it last year you were talking about the bus terminal, or was it the year before?
Oh, that was a few years ago. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
a garden in the bus station in Tel
Did
Aviv.
that ever get resolved in any way, shape, or form, or is it still the same?
No, it's a little bit sad actually. They basically paved over the garden. It's underground now.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's totally closed off. It closed about 5 years ago. I think I talked about it maybe 7 years ago, and then they just closed it one day, and there was nothing we could do. So yeah, that was sad.
Yeah, you told that story. Obviously, it made an impression on me. I'm still thinking about it. It really bothered me.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I wish you lots of luck in your surgery this week. I hope
Oh,
it
thank you.
happens.
No, I don't wish myself luck. I wish the doctor luck. The doctor needs more luck than me. I'm just going to sleep there. Okay. Anybody else have some questions? Okay. Let's get back to the service. All of your mics are able to open. I'm going to share the Siddur with you.